So I haven't ever really recorded a video this way, so I just thought I'd test it out, see how it is. And yeah, I think we'll just roll with it. Got to try new things to see if they work. But what I wanted to speak about today is using the RPE scale. You know what, this is a lot more difficult doing it this way. I don't know why, I'm overthinking it. But what I wanted to talk to you today is about using the RPE scale in your training. Because you really should be using it if you're looking to make progress, if you're looking to build muscle. Now, one of the first things I make sure my clients understand is how to use this scale. Because once I started using it myself, it kind of really changed the whole game. It made my progress increase very quickly, and it made sure I was training to the right intensity and had a kind of target of where I wanted to be. Now, with the RPE, it stands for the rate of perceived exertion. Now, this is very heavily used within more training cardio-wise. However, you can still transfer it and use it when looking to resistance train. The only thing you kind of need to be careful about with transferring the RPE into resistance training is we're not so much calling it rate of perceived exertion, we're more calling it the reps in reserve. And this basically stands for how many more reps could you do after a set. Now with both scales, whether you're using RPE or reps in reserves, you want to be training in the 8 to 9 area, as this is the sweet spot. This is where your progress is going to come from, and this is the intensity you need to be training at if you want to look at really pushing yourself and building strength. Now with an 8, you could probably do 2 more reps after your set. A 9 being where you can comfortably do 1 more, and a 9.5 maybe where you could only do 1 more at a push. See, with training to this area, it means you can train near failure, and we know that by training near to failure, this is where our progress is going to come from. So training near to failure and training with the reps in reserve is very closely linked. It's so important to use, and with every single training session, I use it myself. After each set, I ask myself how hard was that on a scale of 1 to 10, and I make sure I write that down. If the number's too low, at let's say a 7, I can find ways and change up my training to try and increase that number, to make the intensity harder. Now with using this scale consistently, you can understand and find your own ways of making the exercises harder, whether that be by increasing the weight, slowing down the tempo, increasing the reps, etc. There are many different ways to increase your reps in reserve or your RPE. It doesn't matter whether you call it the RPE or the reps in reserve, whichever one you'll remember the most is the one you should use. I say RPE, but I always think of it as reps in reserve. It's pretty similar. So the main takeaway from this is with your training, with your gym sessions, you need to make sure you're training at the right intensity, and one way to make sure that you are training at the right intensity is by using the RPE scale or looking at how many reps in reserve you've got. If you did like this kind of new way of doing the videos, then please make sure you drop a like on the video, leave a comment if you have any questions, and make sure you're subscribing. I do plan to do some more longer videos as the channel is growing slightly, so stay tuned for those. This was definitely an interesting way of doing this video, but I think we'll work on it.